Welcome to the Motherhood Alliance podcast, the podcast dedicated to empowering moms and families on their health and wellness journey. I'm Brittany Suttner.
And I'm Drea Brit. Together, we're here to explore holistic approaches that go beyond conventional medicine.
Each week, we dive into topics that matter most to you. Everything from nutrition and mental health to alternative therapies and natural living.
And whether you're a new mom navigating the early stages of parenthood or a seasoned pro looking for new ways to support your family's well-being, you're in the right place.
Even better, all of our guests are local small business owners who you can actually talk to and work with. You can learn more about today's guest and connect with hundreds of other health and wellness professionals through our informative and easy-to-use directory at motherhoodalliance.com.
Before we get started, keep in mind that this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal healthcare advice. Please consult your healthcare provider before making any changes based on the podcast content.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Are you ready to help your family thrive? Let's get started. Hi, we are Britt and Drea from motherhoodalliance.com, and we are excited to welcome you to a 4-episode series with Megan Fletcher, the owner of Free Bird Healing based out of Waupaca, Wisconsin. Through her business, Megan specializes in supporting women, especially those who have experienced miscarriage, birth trauma, or fertility challenges, by teaching them how to listen to their intuition and how to heal through the somatic healing modality of breathwork. Her journey into this work came through her own personal experiences of grief, loss, and ultimately a powerful return to self. Along the way, she discovered that true healing doesn't come solely from medical treatments, but through deep connection with the body and soul. Megan's passion is helping women feel safe, whole, and deeply connected to themselves and their future children. She truly believes that when women heal, they heal generations. When she's not holding space for the incredible women she works with, you'll find her grounding in nature, moving with the rhythms of life, and cherishing time with her husband and their children, her greatest teachers and inspirations. So take a deep breath right now, get settled in, and get ready to learn some wisdom from Megan. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We are excited to welcome Megan Fletcher here today. Welcome, Megan.
Hey, thank you.
We are so excited to dive into some four amazing topics with you. But of course, we always love to start with a fun fact. And your fun fact got my attention because my daughter has been obsessed with reading Zoe's Rescue Zoo books. Have you ever heard of those?
I have not.
Your fun fact is that you grew up on a zoo.
Yes.
So I'm very much like in that world right now with reading these books with her. So tell us about your experience.
So I grew up, my grandparents, we had a split level house and they lived upstairs and my mom and dad lived downstairs with us. And they just started accumulating animals when I was young. I went to an auction and I wanted a donkey. And then the next thing you know, we had lions and tigers and bears. And it was just...
Wait, for real?
Yeah, for real. It was just crazy. So until I was 18, I lived there. And then obviously I went off to college, but that was like what we did. We had chores. So it was kind of like living on a farm. But we had all of the things.
So I assume this was like a business too.
Yeah.
Where was this?
So it's in Waupaca, and they actually just downsized last year. So I'm 35 this year, and we started when I was about 5. So it was about 30 years, 25. I think they were actually open to the public, but 30 full years of just a lot of rescuing. It kind of started out as a sanctuary. We did rehabilitation of animals, normal animals like around here. And then we also took in lions and tigers, bears, everything that just didn't have a home. And so this was kind of my grandpa's retirement fund. He was a construction worker and he just loved animals. I still to this day say they're better with animals than they are with people. But it was so rewarding in so many ways.
So is the zoo still open?
It's open this year still. They were going to close last year, and I think they held on.
What's the name of it?
Animal Haven Zoo in Waupaca.
Okay, well, there you go, you guys.
Yeah.
Go visit. That's so fun.
Yeah, they have a little bit less of the exotics now, but there's still tons of animals, and it's a beautiful space. So it's near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, and let's continue to talk a little bit about you and your journey and your story, because what you do is so unique compared to so many other people that we've brought on the podcast so far. And so we're excited to learn from you, but you just love this birthing space and helping women really heal and tune into their body and their soul. So how did you get into this work in the first place?
Well, it's funny because I've never told the story this way, but it came to me a couple of weeks ago that it was like, this is the way the story needs to be told. So that the question about the zoo came up. That's really where I started. When I was young, we would help birth goats and sheep and different things that were like, oh, this one's stuck, this one's this one's that. And I always was with the veterinarian. I was like, I want to do it all. Anytime you needed little fingers, like I was there because I'm like, I just love this process. I love to be with the mothers as they're healing, as they're growing babies. And then when the babies came out, I love to nurture those babies. And so it really just stemmed from childhood that I had this nurturing aspect of me. And then going through my pregnancies. So I've had 5 pregnancies. I have 4 children and I had 1 miscarriage. And with each of them, so my oldest is 13 and my youngest is 10 months at this point. And just through that journey, I learned so much about my own body. And I kind of like brought in this aspect of like, it doesn't have to look the same every time, but what I can do is I can ground into my body and I can know my power. And so from my first birth to my 5th birth, it really changed who I was at a soul level. It brought me closer to God. It really just made me flourish into this, what people will call like a healer that wants women to know that they are safe in their bodies and that we can bring up this innate wisdom from generations and lifetimes past that will know exactly what to do when we get into the space of birthing. And then even more on that is like, not only birthing babies, right? Not only birthing full-term babies. So when we talk about even birthing babies that we lost at 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 20 weeks, or babies that went full-term, also we can talk about birthing businesses. We can talk about birthing lifestyles. We can talk about birthing friendships, relationships, abundance, like all of these things go along with birth. And so while I love like the real and raw of a mother giving birth to her baby, there's also this expansiveness to it that's like whatever you're birthing into the world, there are seasons and cycles for that, and you can be supported, but you can always come back home to yourself and into your body and be led by Spirit, led by God to really nurture what you're planting, what you're bringing into the earth, into the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That
Beautiful.
was more than I even thought. I love that you're birthing, that you talk about birthing more than just, the physical. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And in this episode, we're going to be zoning in on a couple of terms that people may have heard about, but they don't really understand what they are. And we really want to kind of debunk these and open them up and really talk about how these spaces can be beautiful for anyone. So we're going to be talking about intuitive healing as well as somatic healing. Can you start by just kind of defining what those are?
Yeah. So I think first we want to talk about healing in general. So I use the word healing because it resonates with people. It gets their attention. But I do always want to just kind of be forward about the fact that nobody is broken. We all have this innate wisdom within us. We all have this direct connection to source, to God. We all have this expansiveness in our bodies that we can access, and we don't have to be healed per se. We do get to look at our shadows. We do get to look at the things that we've gone through. We get to look at our lineage. We get to look at our lifetimes past. We get to look at all of those things, but that doesn't mean we stay stuck in them. We don't stay in a healing loop. And so my work is really around the intuitive and somatic because I want to get you into your body. I want you to know your worth. I want you to feel what it feels like to be able to shed those things that no longer serve you. So when we talk about somatic is in the body. Like anytime you can Google it, they'll have different ways that somatic practitioners work, but it's really just getting in your body. And people do that in different ways. I use breath because I feel like breath is the one thing that we were given that nobody can take away. And so when you breathe, you're breathing in life. And then if you go to intuitive is that direct connection to God. Intuitive is that inner knowing. And people feel intuition in different spots in their body. And learning your body, learning how to have that direct connection means you don't have to go to gods and goddesses. You don't have to go to healers and intuitive, like people will call themselves different things, gurus, those things, astrology and all of that, is really, really great for people on their healing journey. But we can also get to the point where we don't have to grasp at all of those things. We can use them as knowledge, and then we can take what resonates and we can leave the rest. But knowing that first and foremost is that direct connection to spirit.
Mm-hmm. So I love these definitions, and I love the thought of really learning how to listen to your intuition, right? And listen to these promptings that we all naturally feel, and using breath work. Drea and I, in personal training, we definitely know, especially after birth and postpartum, how important breath work and deep breaths and understanding the importance of that is. How do you actually do this professionally? So how are you helping people learn these skills? And then if they do have something like trauma to heal from, how are you coaching them through that?
Yeah, beautiful question. So I would say my practice has changed a lot. I used to use a lot of modalities that were very fine-tuned to this is how you use them and this is what they do. And I've noticed with being with clients that they really need someone to listen, someone to uphold them through their transformation. And so the word alchemy keeps coming in. So I have this relationship with God that he's like, you got to say these words. And I'm like, okay, fine. So alchemy comes in. So alchemy is just being in the transformative space. So it's really hard to explain because you don't want to get too much into energy work because I'm not the one doing the work, right? I'm letting source lead my sessions. So whatever comes through is what we do. It's beautiful that I have some modalities that I can use. I'm trained in breath work. I'm trained in hypnotherapy. But at the end of the day, Spirit will guide the sessions, and he'll really put it on my heart of when I need to speak and when I need to listen. And that in itself creates a dynamic with practitioner and client that the client leaves transformed by their own doing.
So who would benefit from seeing you and working on this breath work and learning these skills? Is this something that everybody could benefit from? Is this something really people who have gone through maybe a traumatic birth or a miscarriage? This is really more so for them. Who are you speaking to?
I would say this is for anybody that feels called. So you are always going to feel really aligned with a certain practitioner. And typically you can feel that right away, especially if you're connected to your body, even in the littlest bit. If you're like, oh, something about this girl or something about this woman or something about this man is really pulling me. You might not know why. When I got into my coaching certification, I was like, I actually thought I was going to become a fitness coach. And then 3 months into this 9-month program, I was like, where's the fitness part? And she's like, there's no fitness involved in this. I just knew I needed to be there. I knew that was the space I wanted to be for the growth of my intuition and my modalities and my practice and my life. And so it always just is starting somewhere. And wherever you're called to start is where you should start, and then just keep following those nudges. And so for me, I love to work with women in all of the stages of life and birth and pregnancy, but also knowing that you don't only have to be birthing that baby, right? You might be birthing something else, or there might be a big transitional shift going on. A lot of my clients come in, they're like, I know that this isn't what I want, but I don't know what I want. And so we can dig down and find, what do you want? And the same within birth. Sometimes they're like, I know I don't want all of these things. Okay, great. Now let's focus on what we do want, and let's bring that into your reality. And it kind of goes along the lines of manifestation, right? But it's source led. It's for your highest good. It's that connection that you're going to have for the rest of your life, not just, I found $10 on the ground, right? So you can just it's just being fully immersed.
Why do you think that so many women feel maybe disconnected from their intuition?
Oh, I love this question. That's really wonderful. I think that there is so much conditioning that has happened, not only today, but in all of the years past, right? So we've been told, be small, be quiet, cover yourself, don't be too much. This is what your job is in society. And these come from way, 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 way back in our genes. We're holding things from hundreds of thousands of years ago And we're bringing them into now. And this is the lifetime that we're here to change them. So this is why there's so many practitioners and healers and people that are doing things out of the ordinary, because we're meant to break out of these societal conditionings. If we don't, we're going to keep living those patterns over and over. Those patterns that you're like, oh, my mom does that and it drives me insane. We're going to start living those patterns if we're not the breaker of that. And so it's breaking that generational trauma.
Yeah. And I would add to that just how busy we are. You know, there's the ingrained things, but then there's just the time. We never take time to be still and really reflect inward. And I know I was having a conversation with someone recently about just how if you're feeling like you need some guidance in life and you are a faith-filled person, you need to find times to be still, because the Holy Spirit speaks in whispers. Mm-hmm. And Absolutely. So if you're so busy doing things and your brain is busy and you're never taking time to pause, you're never going to hear.
Absolutely.
So yeah, totally aligned with what you're saying here, which is so great. So within your practice, you're blending the breath work, right? That's the somatic healing piece. Yep. And then you're teaching women the intuition side. And so I think something so valuable of what I'm hearing that you do is that you help them find that pause.
Yeah.
And then are you asking them like guided questions and to help them figure out either things that they're holding or maybe proactively thinking through how, like, birth experiences, things like that? Is that kind of how a session would look?
Yep. So, and I was going to go back to that at some point. So I'm glad you went back to that. So also, yeah, within the sessions, we're going to bring you into your body. So what that looks like is a little bit different for everybody, but typically we'll start with a breath pattern and then we'll come into the body, and we have to find the places that aren't feeling the greatest, and we have to find the places that are feeling the greatest, because we can work like magic within our own body just by resourcing. So instead of saying, can you help me with this? You are asking your own body to help you with that. You're asking your own body for its story. And when you can get in and ask your body for its story and it can talk to you, that you can release those stories. You can let those stories go. And there is just so much grief that we're holding. And so women will typically hold things in different places in their body, and we can clear that out. So I've had women that have babies that, you know, quote unquote, aren't coming. Well, they feel like they're so blocked. Sometimes it's an energetic block. And so we can actually like go in and it's different for everybody what they experience, but there will be a dark color or something like that. And we can like take it and throw it in the trash. That clears the womb space. So it's really a clearing of the stuff that we're holding.
Mm-hmm. And then I know that you mentioned that you went through a miscarriage yourself. Mm-hmm. And these are more common than I think our society talks about. Nobody talks about it, but women are having miscarriages on a regular basis, and then they sit in their own cave of thoughts and feelings, and they feel like they're alone.
Yep.
So how do you help to guide them to peace and healing? Because time can help heal, but there's also things that never go away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that first catching it during, like before, during, and then right after the miscarriage is really, really wonderful, because we need to process these emotions while they're real and raw. And so a lot of times it's just sitting with a woman and it's allowing them to journal it out and talk it out, because especially when we're talking things out, that is getting it out of our system. It's making it a real thing instead of keeping it balled up inside of our heads and inside of our bodies. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It kind of like catapulted me on my journey, because I was like, oh, I can hold these things or I can release them. And then it's also like talking with the baby and talking with the womb space. So I do kind of get that woo-woo where I'm like, we get to go in and we get to ask, what does this baby have to say to you? Because sometimes it's a lifestyle change that's needed. These babies are not coming in now because we need to populate the earth. They're coming in for a reason and a purpose. God is sending them here for a reason and a purpose. And if you're not aligned with that soul's reason and purpose, they're like, gonna bounce out. So my miscarriage was that. I know it was. I was doing very shallow breath work, which you should be able to breathe in and out without having a miscarriage. And the question came in of, like, is this okay? What would you release to feel like more aligned in life? And at that moment, the baby left and I miscarried 2 days later. And it was profound for me because I was like, as much as I was grieving a miscarriage, and I also got to do it by myself, with not a lot of outward coming in. So I really got to just journal and talk and be with my body during that process. I think there's also a piece of it that people think, I just need this out of me. But this is a sacred thing. This, even though you're losing this baby, or even when you're going through birth, it isn't, I want it out of me. It's how can I do this in the most respectful way to my body, to the creation that God has given me. And so, I mean, a little bit of tangent, we could talk about that for hours, but just knowing my body more and knowing that I could talk to that baby and talk to my womb space, which is all just a connection to God, right? It helps with the healing process because it isn't what somebody else told me the problem was. My body is not broken. I'm not getting fixed by a DNC or however they do it. I am healing in my rawness. I am watching this leave my body, and I'm aware of it. I'm with it. I'm embracing it for all of the hurt it's causing. I'm also sending that much love.
Such a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's the women who are listening, maybe men too, who are in a season of preparation.
Yeah.
And there are women who are in a season of grief, right? So maybe you have different answers for each of those types of situations, but how can a woman begin listening to her body in everyday life? Like, what are some things that they can do in their home, or start maybe this process of learning to dive into their intuition or that breath work piece? Like, what are some things that they can start doing right now in a practical, real life way?
Yeah. How can they listen to that whisper?
Yeah, I think you nailed it earlier. You just have to be silent. And that doesn't mean silent in meditation, because I am the world's worst meditator.
That's good to know. I would think that you'd be the best.
No,
I'm
horrible. I'm horrible. I definitely like whatever sings to you. Get out in the nature. Water's a big one for me. Like sometimes I just have to go and sit by a river or a lake. Sometimes I have to get into it. What sings to you? Sauna has been huge for me lately. You can't bring your phone in the sauna. You can't bring your phone in the water, right? Like, where can you disconnect? And what is your body craving? So if you woke up in the morning before anything ever happened and you sat and said, what do I need today? That will get you one step closer. And I was always taught intuition's a muscle. So you have to work it. So you can pretend, you don't have any muscle mass. And as you do these little things, you walk on the ground, you go outside and look at the morning dew, you look at the sun, like all of these little things are so, people are like, well, that's not enough. I want to have to go to the gym, or I want to have to go to a practitioner. It starts at home. It starts just getting into your body. And we're also going to teach our children that as we do it more, not by preaching it.
I love that. Little things.
Yeah.
What speaks to you.
Doesn't have to be hard.
Well, and even as you're saying that, I'm thinking about when you are out in the water, or if you're sitting on your deck, you're just taking 5 minutes to get some morning sunlight or something. Just really, instead of letting your brain wander into your to-do list, like look around at what's actually around you. Absolutely. Take in the beauty that God has given us. Like if there's a tree in front of you, look how many leaves are on that tree. Yeah. And right now we're recording this in the spring. It's coming out in the summer, but regardless, those are seasons of beauty. Like there's so much to notice if you just take the time to notice it.
Yeah. It's like the feelings, or like hear, see, feel, go through your senses. And go through each one of them individually. That's another really fun one, especially for kids. Like, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you know? Like, what do you know to be true on this beautiful day? I know.
Man, I love that.
Well, and then as you're thinking about those things, how does your heart feel? Like, what are you feeling in your stomach? Do you get butterflies when you notice that?
Absolutely.
Just like all those things.
Is
so
there
great.
tingles?
So great. So if someone wants to connect with you, do you offer a free consult? Is that correct?
Yeah. I love to talk to people. So I don't like to use the word consult because it's it's so rigid, right?
Yeah.
But it is what you have to use so people get it. But I have social media. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And I love to get just a text message, a phone call, a personal mess, or a DM, a voice note, honestly, any way that feels called. I just love to have these conversations with people. And that doesn't always mean you're going to end in session. So sometimes I'll talk to somebody for a half an hour on the phone and they're complete. And I'm totally great with that. Like, I love that. And then there are other people that are like, I want to work with you more. And then we move from there. So there's just different ways to do it. And it's really whatever feels called.
Great. We will link
you.
to your Instagram, your Facebook, and your website in the show notes. So if you guys want to connect with her, you can check those out. Thank you so much, Megan. This was a great first episode. I think a lot of people are walking away really feeling hopeful for the future, in whatever space that they're in. But we do have 3 more episodes coming up. We are going to be talking a little bit deeper about healing after miscarriage and birth trauma in our next episode. And then episode 3, we're going to be talking about how sacred the path to motherhood really is, and just really talking about how it can be so complex, but it can also be so beautiful. And then finally, in episode 4 of this series, we're going to be speaking to practitioners. So for those of you who are professionals in the wellness arena, make sure that you are staying tuned for that one, because Megan has some great insight into how to bring your intuition into your practice. So 3 more great episodes coming up. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider leaving a rating or review or sharing it directly with a friend who could benefit from the information? We know that you're a busy mom or caregiver, and our goal is to make your life easier by bringing tips and tricks directly from experts into your earbuds. By sharing this episode with someone you love, you can play a critical role in helping to make their life easier as well. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being a part of the Motherhood Alliance family.